Welcome. We'll start with the fifth chapter for NCERT Class 6 History that talks about the books and the burials. Now we'll start first with the various books. So you have the first four Vedas that were given. Those were the Rig Veda, Samved, Yajurved and Atharvaved. Of these, Rig Veda is considered as the oldest Veda. It has nearly more than 1000 hymns, and these hymns are known as suktas. The word suktas means well said. That means these were the sayings, and the initial Rig Veda sayings were only recited or heard. That means they were not written down, and they were composed later off, and you can find the evidence in printed form from nearly 200 years old. The initial ones were only recited and preached from one person to another. Now the rishis or the sages were the one who laid down the suktas or the hymns. In Rig Veda there are three gods that are mentioned. These were Agni, Indra and Som. Agni god is the god of fire, Indra is the god of, it's a warrior god, and Som is the plant from which a drink is made, and you have the Som god. Now this Rig Veda was written in old or Vedic Sanskrit, and that was very different from the recent Sanskrit that you have. Under the recent Sanskrit, we say Sanskrit is of the family of Indo-European. As a result, you have 5 Indian and 6 European languages which lie under Sanskrit or which have their origin from Sanskrit. So under the Indian languages you have Assamese, Gujarati, Kashmiri, Sanskrit, Hindi and Hindi, Kashmiri, Sindhi, Gujarati and Assamese. Under the European you would have French, German, Greek, Italian, Spanish and English, which have their origin from Sanskrit. Now the other three Vedas were the Samved, Yajurved and Atharvaved. Samved talks about the musical notes and the chantings. Yajurved talks about the various rituals and the sacrifices that were made, and Atharvaved talks about the various spells and the charms. Now all of these four Vedas further had 4 divisions. So each of these Vedas were further divided into 4 parts. So first was the Samhita, that is the collection of all the mantras or the hymns. The next was the Brahmins, which were the rituals. The third division was the Arankyas, which talked about the theology or the meditation. And finally you have the Upanishad, which was the philosophy or the concluding part. This concluding part was also known as Vedant, Ved plus Ant, that means the end of Vedas. So you had the concluding part or Vedant, which were the Upanishad. So both Arankyas and Upanishad were considered as the ones which were dealt towards the end. Now as we talked about the origin of the language, Sanskrit originated from Indo-European family. However, there were various other languages which originated from different family. So all the 4 South Indian languages, as the Tamil, Telugu, Kannada and Malayalam, have their origin in the Dravidian family. Then you have the languages of the northeast, which have the origin in the Indo-Tibetan family, and the regions of Jharkhand and central India had their origin in Austroasiatic family. So these were the language origins for the various segments of the languages that were prevalent in India during that time. Now we will talk about the people at that time. So when we said you had the various Vedas which mentioned about the life of the people and the various books which talked about the sacrifices and the rituals, the common man were considered as Jan or Vish, which was derived from Vaishya. When we talk about the 4 hierarchy, which we will see in the next chapter, that was considered as Brahmin, Kshatriya, those were the warriors. Then you have the Vaishya and the Shudra. So these were the basic classification or the Varna system that was prevalent in the Indian society. Of this, Vaishya was considered as Vish or also called as Jan, which were the common man. Now this Jan were further divided into Purujan, Bharatjan, Yajujan and so on. So when there was the war, it was known as Dasrajan Yagna. Dasrajan, and that was 5 Aryans and 5 non-Aryans had the fight at that time. So it was known as Dasrajan Yuddha, and it was also known as the conversion, or the English name was the Battle of 10 Kings. Now, Brahmins were the priests who were considered ones who performed the rituals and the various sacrifices. Rajas were asked to perform the rituals. However, the time we are talking about, there were no palaces, no army that the king would maintain. Later on, Rajas were converted their areas into Janpads and Mahajanpads, which we will talk about in the next chapter. And then the kings started to maintain the army. They started to collect tax. Till now, till the time we are talking about, during the Veda period, you had the Rajas which did not maintain their capitals. There was no palaces, no tax collection, and there was no concept that son would succeed father to the post of king or as a king. Then you have Aryas who composed the hymns, and you had Dasas who were the males and Dasis who were the females, and these were considered as the slaves. Now these were the slaves who were captured in the war, and once they were captured in the war, they were kept as slaves. So they were mainly from the opponent's army. The next was the type of buildings and the burials, as we said. Now when we talk about burials, the most important characteristic feature here was the megaliths. Now these megaliths were big stones which are marked on the burial sites to mark the burial areas. So you had a burial site, and then you would have either a circular or a big stone that would be kept there, and this was known as megalith. This marked the burial site. So with this we discovered the various burial sites of the region. Now Deccan, Northeast and Kashmir have good number of evidences where we can see numerous megaliths that were seen. Again, there were surface as well as underground megaliths that were seen, and they were known as schist. So they were called as schist. Along with the person who was buried, there were various food and water that was buried. So you can find evidences of various pots and which contained food and water. These pots were mainly black and red wares that were seen. Along with that, the common things that the person used, so for example tools, weapons and ornaments were seen. Now on the burial sites, you have demarcation between the males and the females. So the female skeletons that were seen mainly had more of jewelry as compared to males. Males also worn jewelry at that time. Again, from the skeleton, the pelvic area of the female skeleton was much bigger as compared to the males because of the childbearing capacity. So you had the various differences in the skeletons that were seen, which were seen during the time of burials, or during the time of excavations. Now Brahmagiri is one of the sites where you have huge number of burials that were seen. Now burials were mainly in the form of skeletons. Then along with the skeletons, there were beads, bangles, there were shells and other remains that were seen. Inamgaon is another case study that has been mentioned in this book. Now Inamgaon talks about a town that was on the river God, which is a tributary of Bhima river in South India. Now here what was a common practice was adults were buried in the ground and their heads were pointed towards the northern side. Along with, as we said, there was food and water that was kept in the pots. The pots were mainly black and red in color. There was an evidence where the men were also buried in their houses only, or in the courtyard of their houses. One classic example was a man which was seen buried in a clay jar in one of the biggest courtyards that could be seen of that region, and that man was in a cross-legged position. Now these were some of the evidences that we see. Again you have the evidences of the various animals. During the time in the Inamgaon, you have wheat, barley, which were the crops. Then you have the animals, the common animals of cow that were seen. However, contemporary to this, in China also you have certain evidences that were seen. But the story in China is bit interesting. In China you had writings on the animal bones that were seen. These animal bones were also known as the oracle bones. And the most interesting part of this was these oracle bones were heated and then cracked, and based on the shape that it acquires after cracking, there was fortune that was told about the person. As you can understand, since these were all superstitious beliefs that time, there were definite mistakes that were committed. However, it was a common practice in most of the parts of China. Again, in China, you have kings at that time who lived in palaces, in contrast to India where there were no palaces during the Veda period. Also, bronze vessels were used in China. In contrast, there was no iron that was seen during that time in the Chinese region that was marked off. Again, one of the interesting stories during this time was a conversation between Vishwamitra Guru and river Byas and Satluj. Now, the Guru Vishwamitra told the rivers that you are considered as the lifeline or the chariot of the sea, and you are the only ones who are prayed and worshipped. However, these rivers argued with Vishwamitra, saying that if that is the case, you are a king, why do you worship us? So Vishwamitra in turn replied, saying that we worship you because in case you have your levels up, our chariot when crossing would drown in. So you are the one who can drive us safely from one part to another. Therefore we worship you. That means during that time, rivers were considered equivalent to horses and cows, and they were highly valued. So you had horses, cows as well as rivers that were worshipped during that time or valued during that period. Again, besides this, there was another interesting fact that the wealth that was collected was distributed between the landlords, the priests and the common men. And when you talk about the horses, these horses were run on chariots and these were primarily used for battle. Now, why the various battles were fought during that time? The main cause of the battles were three. First, to acquire the land. Second, to move on to fertile areas where you have ample of water availability that was seen. So you have to capture the land, to capture or to move on to the areas where you have water availability so that you can have agriculture or barley, which was considered as a common crop during that time. And lastly, to capture the cattle or the farm wealth. So these were the major causes for which you had the various wars that were conducted during that time. So with this we cover chapter 5 of NCERT class 6. In the next class we will be covering chapter 6 in further detail. You can subscribe to our channel for further details, and for any comments you can leave those as for any doubts you can leave those as comment below the video. Have a good day ahead.